Hey folks, Brian Blessing in Las Vegas. Glad to be with you as always, ATS.io. Our good buddy Adam Burke, his podcast that's there for you every weekday. I join Adam on Tuesdays. And we're going to talk about NASCAR. And we finally get to the mile-and-a-half tracks. We had restrictor plate racing, road courses. It's the Dixie Vodka 400 at Homestead. And do we get right back to where we were last year with a match race? Is it going to be the Denny, Hamlin, and Kevin Harvick match race? It kind of makes sense. There are a couple of guys that absolutely could throw a wrench into the soup here. Now, Hamlin is plus 450. Harvick is actually on the board at 8-1 because he's not run that well in the first couple of races. But this is his preferred track distance, mile-and-a-half tracks. This is where Harvick really shines. The guy that's really stepped up and does take a lot of money on a weekly basis, and deservedly so, is Chase Elliott, be it road courses, restrictor plates. He did it in the playoffs last year. But Harvick looks like an overlay at 8-1. You'd have to go on the premise that he will indeed run well. Another guy that's run well here, runs well on mile-and-a-half tracks, and seems to be highly motivated is Martin Truex. These are the main contenders, and it goes without saying, and the numbers tell you that. Kyle Busch is on the board at 10-1. Don't forget, he only won the one race last year. Keselowski's on the board at 12-1. He's got a stone in his shoe after coming up short in Daytona. Looked like he was going to win that race before the big accident on the final lap. Logano is another guy. I think you take a look at Joey Logano because his track record is to win early and secure that playoff position, and then he's playing with house money. And Logano, that yellow and red car is always in the discussion, and he's prominent throughout the course of the race. So Logano is another guy you would take a long, hard look at. And then there's Ryan Blaney, the bad luck character in NASCAR. He has a great car. Something just always seems to go wrong. A tire goes down, a mistake, speeding on pit row. Crazy things happen to this guy. If he can get a win early, he could win a bunch of races because week in, week out, Ryan Blaney has a phenomenal car. The one guy, I'm telling you, I would take a look at a long shot play. I think Tyler Reddick is a guy that you could take a look at. And 20-1, the number is telling you that he's live. He was taken out of the Daytona event in the big accident early on. But this kid, I think, with a full year under his belt, he's aggressive. It's pedal to the metal all the time. I think Tyler Reddick is going to win races this year. 20-1, he's the overlay for me. I'm going to take a shot with Tyler Reddick this week. You throw these last couple of races out, the road course, he had a problem, and he had an accident in the Daytona 500. So watch out for a guy like Tyler Reddick. And the young guns, Christopher Bell gets a win on the road course. The young guys are starting to make a name for themselves. The young guys that flies under the radar, I do think, is Tyler Reddick. But I'm looking for Harvick at an overlaid price to really give Hamlin all he can handle. We mentioned who the favorites are. The price play for me would be Tyler Reddick when NASCAR competes for the first time this year on a mile-and-a-half track at Homestead. Always good to be with you at ATS.io. I'm Brian Blessing in Las Vegas.